All right, good evening, everybody. It's Sunday, 7 p.m., August 23rd. Prices of Bitcoin currently at 11,639. We just finished the daily close just about 5 minutes ago, as you can see, and we also finished the weekly close. So I'm going to go through the bigger time frame analysis in a second, and I'm also going to cover altcoins and DeFi coins that I'm paying attention to. But first things first, I really want to focus on BTC right now because it has shown us some very unique price action, which I believe is going to be very telling for what's to come for the week ahead. If you've been watching my videos for the past couple days, especially on the advantage side, I've been talking about this potentially being a 5-wave count that we might be dealing with. I think we're still working on that 5th wave down. I think that 5th wave could potentially bring us down to 11,100, 11,000 flat. And it's also possible that it might take us way the heck down here around maybe 10,900, maybe 10,800, that area right here. Because this all is pure liquidity that has not been taken, because you can see right here all these wicks, all these right here, that barely came into this area, and they left a lot of stops in this area. I would figure that if BTC is going to catch a good amount of support, it's probably going to be here. So it's possible that the 5th wave is a pretty aggressive one that starts selling off possibly today and tomorrow into this particular area. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to that. Now, let's go to some higher time frames, right? Let's take a look at the 4-hour. So again, on the 4-hour, we have this big triangle that I had made out. This was an ascending triangle, which was creating our count, which was A, B, C, D, and then potentially E. And then we broke out of that. However, we failed right there, because what happened was, if you pay attention, you could see we hit that R1, and then we came sliding back inside that R1. The one thing I can tell y'all about pivots is the best lesson to take away is when you start breaking above a pivot, you should hold that particular pivot as support. It's basically like key support and resistance levels, right? If you start, if you have a, say a range like this, okay, and price is doing its thing in this range and it's going up and down, if you push up through that, price should utilize this same resistance as support and then start taking off. But if price does something like this, okay, and it goes up and it does something like that, and then it starts coming back around like this, well, chances are you're probably going to go back towards the previous support that was holding up price, okay? In this instance, that would probably be somewhere around these areas right here, 11,000 flat or 11,100 or so. All right, so that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Is I would say with higher confidence that at the very least we'll probably get a small bounce around 11,361. And again, that doesn't mean that we're just going to wick that area, or I'm sorry, not wick, but rather that doesn't mean that we're just going to barely touch it and then take off. It's probably going to be a deeper wick that goes into the 11,200s and then possibly push back up. That would then complete our 5 waves down. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you need the 5th wave just to go below that 3rd wave right there. The 3rd wave low is 11,373. So it's possible that we just wick below that and then push up, but I would say there's a higher likelihood that we're probably going to dig down just a little bit deeper. The other reason why I personally believe that we're probably going to get a deeper pullback in Bitcoin is ETH. Okay, if we take a look at ETH, all right, I've told y'all before that when it comes to Bitcoin and how it reacts or moves in the market, oftentimes Ethereum is the one to give you an indication of what is to come. It can give you somewhat of it can be a leading indicator, if you will, for Bitcoin. And so you can see right here on ETH, okay, we started breaking each of these levels one level at a time. First one being this one right here, which is previous support, $415. There's this key high, it was support right there, support right there, broke right through. Then we came into this previous area that was previous resistance all right there, into support right there. And then we tagged the same area that was previous support into resistance. ETH has been tagging these areas very, very perfectly. Okay, so it went into this area as support, rejected it as resistance, came into this area as support, right? Went up here, and then it broke down further, went into this area as support, and then this area as resistance, which was previous support. Now I would figure that it's going to do the same thing going forward. It's probably going to break down past this area and head towards this key marker, which is around $355. Okay, that's my key area that I'm watching very closely because it's a level that comes back all the way from 2018. I would also not be surprised, I guess, if it came into this $340, $335 area, because as you can see, that was also, you know, resistance right there, support, pushes all the way up, you know, again, big dump on this candle right here, again, utilize it as support. So keep an eye on 355, you know, $340 or so, okay? Now the big question is, okay, well, what does this mean for the market, right? I mean, is this the top? Are we gonna go down from here? To be honest, it's very hard to know, but here's what I can tell you. We have right now, okay, we have a good trending market, right? We have nice impulsive move, sideways consolidation right here for 3 months, and then push up again. I would not be surprised if we consolidate in this 10,500 to 12,000 range for a little bit. That could be another couple of days, or it could be another couple of weeks. I have no idea. But what kind of concerns me is a couple things, okay? Number one, all right, if we look at the DXY, okay, remember I've mentioned to you that the DXY is an important basket of currencies to watch because it helps you understand what could be happening in the equity markets if the dollar starts bouncing, if it starts gaining strength. Meaning it's possible that the equity markets, commodities, gold, even Bitcoin will probably start seeing a sell-off if the DXY starts gaining strength. You can see right here over the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days now, right? We've seen a good uptick in the DXY. So that would probably warrant a pullback in all markets, whether it's gold, whether it's the equity markets, and whether it's Bitcoin. You can definitely see the almost near perfect correlation of what's happened to gold over the past several days. If you look back on this drop, this push back up, and then this drop again, you can see the DXY is putting in a bottom right here, or what seems to be a bottom. So you can see gold selling off. You can see Bitcoin, again, for the past few days, pulling back. So you know for sure that the dollar is king, and you need to watch how the DXY basket of currencies is moving. All right, this is why I pay attention to the macro picture of what's happening in markets, because it doesn't really matter how Bitcoin is moving. Yes, it could be in a trending market stuff, but the party could be put to an end by what happens in the FX markets, okay? If equity starts pulling back, gold starts pulling back, and the DXY is pushing up, that means more than likely BTC is going to go down. Now, if it goes down, like I said, I think it's probably going to catch some support around 10,600 all the way to about 11,000 flat. So that, in my opinion, is a very unique opportunity to buy some long positions right here in this area right here. Now, it's possible that from here we just dump, you know, straight down, test as resistance, and then start dumping down further. It's very possible, but unfortunately, in trending markets, this is the kind of quote unquote knife you have to catch, because the fact of the matter is the market right now is moving up, moving sideways, trending, moving up, consolidating in this particular area. So we cannot just assume that this is the top and we have to go down. Okay, it's a pretty bad assumption given the fact that there's a good amount of liquidity still in the market from the Fed. There's a good amount of risk on environment, risk on pressure from people who are trading, professionals, asset managers, etc., who still probably believe that more than likely this market is going to keep pushing up. But again, we don't definitely know when the profit taking will start, when the party could end. So you need to be careful, okay? You do not need to start aggressively going long. It's possible that you could start, going long into this area right here, maybe stops somewhere down here, like in the 10,300, 10,200 area. But I would probably say that is as deep of a stop that you need. If the price starts heading down into this range again, more than likely it's probably getting to this, low nines, possibly high eights and maybe mid eights area. Okay. That's kind of how I see the market right now. It's trending, it looks good, pullbacks could be bought, but again, you need to be careful that the dollar is potentially putting in a base right here. Commodities like gold are pulling back. Even if you look at the S&P 500, okay, you can look at all these tightening dojis that have been coming up right near the previous all-time high. Okay, so if you're someone who trades the stock market like I do, this is something that concerns me. Okay, if you're looking at the stock market to start putting in new all-time highs, it needs to start doing it impulsively. You need to have this kind of movement right here. You see these candles through these, this kind of supply, this resistance right here. Not these kinds of dojis that are printing, sideways more and more day by day. So this is the thing that kind of concerns me at present moment. Now going back to BTC, the one thing that I can tell you that will probably happen with BTC at present moment is if Bitcoin starts selling off, I think there's probably going to be a broader market sell-off, because this is not the same kind of pullback that we experienced, say a couple weeks ago when things like Link or Tezos or all these other DeFi coins were breaking out. I think everything will probably get a pullback. Now, specifically Link, that is something that I have paid a lot of attention to because I have a pretty big spot position in it. I've been talking about Link from the $19 area to get a pullback to $12 or $10. I think my dream is finally going to come true after all this waiting. And I think Link is going through the same process where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think we're waiting for that fifth wave down. And I think that fifth wave is probably going to come between that $12 and $10 range. So if you are considering looking to get into Link, unfortunately, you might have to buy when there is some pretty high fear in the market. I know for sure that I'm going to be looking at Link to, around that $12 to $10 area to get back in and start adding to my spot position. I can't give you financial advice what to buy or sell, but that's what I'm considering doing. Okay. Let me see here. Let's see what else we got. We talked about Ethereum. Let's talk about Litecoin. Okay, so more than likely, I think Litecoin is probably going to get a pullback too. If BTC dumps to that 11,000 range or 10,800 or so, I'd probably figure LTC is going to come back to this area, maybe $50 flat, maybe 52. So pay attention to that because I personally think that LTC, if it does start moving, it's probably going to perform really well against BTC in terms of percentage gains. Same thing with Ethereum. I think Ethereum and Litecoin have a higher percentage margin of gains when they start moving with BTC. But we got to make sure that Bitcoin actually finds a bottom in this area and then it starts pushing up. Now let's take a look at the weekly, right? Final thing that we got to look at. Okay, so here are a couple things that we really need to pay attention to. Okay, number one, all right, we have to look at this key marker right here. I'm going to shorten up that line and make it red. Okay, so if you look at this key area, this was the August 5th, 2019 high around $12,340. Okay, we pierced just past that by 160 bucks right there. And then we got strongly rejected. Okay, so we're sitting on the base of this 11,631 level. Where does that come from? Well, that's the key closing from over here, this candle right here. Let me get rid of my alerts. All right. So this candle right here, January 22nd, 2018, that's where this key black marker right here comes from. Now, if we start pushing below that and we start maybe closing next week below that marker, it's more than likely that we're probably heading to 9798 area, which is pretty much the base, not the base, rather the previous resistance right there, okay? More than likely that's probably going to happen. But again, that would imply that the weekly starts looking aggressively weak, and we start closing below this 11,631 marker. Now, we just started a new weekly. Okay, I have no idea how the rest of the week is going to go. For all I know, we might print a massive bullish candle that rips through, this 12.3 level, and we start heading, up higher. But this current candle, as we see it, is not a good looking candle. All right, not by any means, in my opinion. I think it's a pretty bearish looking candle. It's possibly a potential reversal on the weekly basis. But we have to see, we have to wait and see. If we get to that 11,000, 10,800 level, it's possible that in the middle of the week, we might wick into that area, again, on a weekly basis, and then we start pushing up higher. So this is why I say that it's possible that we get some dip buying opportunities in this area, but that doesn't mean that from here, we're going to just keep going straight up. It's possible that we get a buying opportunity right here, push back up towards 11.4, 11.5, and then start breaking down again. Why 11.4, 11.5? Because like I just said, this 11,631 area is the key area that comes from this level way back in 2018. So it's possible in the middle of the week, we have a big wick down on the daily time frame, push back up towards 11.4, 11.5, maybe even exactly 11,631, and then start dumping for the next couple weeks ahead. See, the thing is, okay, we've ran up, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks straight. Okay, you need pullbacks, all right? Markets need pullbacks, guys. You can't just keep going straight up forever. I know everybody thinks that Bitcoin is in a bull market and it's going to just keep going up, or same thing with Link. It's just not the case, all right? Even if you get a 10, 15% pullback from here, that's healthy. That's possible from there that we could push up even higher. But if you just kind of move here, stall sideways, and you're seeing that there's a good amount of resistance right here, well, you need to be careful, okay? You need to pause and wait and see what the next couple of days are going to show you, what the next maybe week is going to show you, right? So that's kind of where I am. I personally think, yes, there might be dip buying opportunities right here, but if we cannot get past, say, 11,800, 12,000, more than likely we're probably in for a deeper correction, okay? And that would probably mean, again, most of your altcoins, whether it's Link, Ethereum, Litecoin, pretty much everything, I think that's going to get a deeper pullback. Let me see. Let's see what else I need to cover. On this time frame, I had this big 12-hour time frame chart where I was telling people that, yes, it's possible that we could be in this rising wedge. I didn't really want to buy into the rising wedge until we broke below this blue marker. And I'll tell you guys exactly where that blue marker comes from. Okay, so if I go here on a 4-hour basis, that blue marker, as you can see this line, it comes from this key high on July 31st. Why is that high important? You see this right here? We pushed above that area, but then we got strongly rejected. So that tells me that everything above this area, which was this above this blue marker, was supply. Same thing, it was supply right here. But then we finally started to grind into supply, and then we pushed up and met new sellers. The new sellers right now, at present moment, are much stronger than the buyers. That's it. So this is why I say when we get pullbacks in the market, it's to reassess, gain some new momentum, gain some new strength, by reaching into new orders or new buyers down here, and then trying back up towards this new supply again and see if we can overcome that. If we don't have enough strength, say Bitcoin gets down here, comes back to 11.4, 11.5, and then it starts rolling back over again, well, then you've got your answer. That means Bitcoin is not ready to break 12,000 yet. It needs to probably go in deeper. Maybe it's back towards 10,000, maybe 9, maybe 8. Okay, but we'll take it one day at a time, one step at a time. I don't know if I have anything else to cover. Let me think about it. Covered the S&P 500, Bitcoin, LTC. Yeah, so LTC, I'm still looking for this big target around $79, but I don't think that's going to come true anytime soon unless BTC starts gaining strength. Okay, so we'll have to see how the next few days go. Faisal and I actually did a video just today on the equity markets right here. We talked about the markets overall getting a pullback in the coming week or two, and that would possibly imply a potential W bottom, which even the very infamous economist Nouriel Roubini has been talking about. He's been talking about a potential W recovery. Now he's saying that the W might not reach as deep, like it's not gonna possibly reach way the heck down here. And so that's possible that if we get that W, well, that definitely means Bitcoin is coming down, just as hard. It's possible that Bitcoin comes down to maybe 8,000, maybe even 7 or 6, if we get this kind of W recovery over the next couple weeks. I have no idea what's going to happen, guys. I'm flat in Bitcoin. I'm not in any long positions. I'm going to be looking for short positions. But for now, I'm going to wait patiently. I'm going to see what the market is trying to show me and then go from there. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoy this analysis. Give me a thumbs up if you like this content. Leave me a comment of your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover, because we've been pretty active and very active in terms of altcoin analysis, altcoin trades in our community. And so if you guys are interested in that, come join the Discord below. There's a link below in the YouTube description. We also have the Advantage membership where you get all these locked channels right here where you can get access to that. If you're interested, again, the link is below. Let me see. RSI, again, I've still been talking about the RSI potentially hitting oversold territory. I would really like that on a 4-hour basis, because once you get that, when you go from overbought right here into oversold, that kind of tells me that there's been a reset that's done. You've kind of exhausted and maybe pushed out a bunch of buyers, pushed out a bunch of leverage long positions, and then you could start potentially pushing back up. So that's, in my opinion, possible. We definitely want to see, OBV also showing us signs. Remember, OBV is on balance volume. It's effectively money flows that you can track to see if there's positive money flows going into this particular asset to indicate that, yes, there is money flowing into this asset to push it up higher. If there's money leaving, if the OBV starts ticking down very aggressively, that means people are not interested. Maybe people are selling, maybe people are shorting. Okay, but for now, OBV is not looking too bad. It's still kind of just hovering sideways, and I don't see any issues with that. Pivot-wise, let me just cover this real quick, okay? So let's first go on the 15-minute basis to cover a couple things. Number one, VWAP, and number two, pivots, okay? So I've told y'all before that when it comes to looking at VWAP and pivots, when you're above the pivot, when you're above the VWAP, in my opinion, that is the area that you want to be longing, okay? Because once price has kind of indicated to you that, yes, it could stay above a key SR level, which is the pivot, and it can stay above the VWAP, which is the volume weighted average price, that means that price is indicating to you that it has momentum, that it has strength. At present moment, it's not really showing you either. We just started a new daily. You can see on the 15-minute basis, we're already under the pivot or already under the VWAP. So for those of you who are in Asia, Europe, Australia, etc., you can keep an eye on this in the U.S. nighttime zone. If you get a move above the VWAP as well as the pivot, it's possible that you could take a potential long position. But again, right now I remain flat. I'm going to be waiting to see what the market is going to show me for the week ahead. Personally, I think it's going to be a rocky, potentially volatile week. We also have the CME futures contracts that are closing going into this week ahead. So I definitely expect a bunch of volatility. I do not want to be trading on the long side or the short side. I want to just be waiting patiently for the market to give me good signals to buy the dip or to short, rejections whenever I get them. I'll be keeping my Advantage members updated on everything that I do. And that's pretty much it. All right. Y'all take care. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Until then, good night and cheers.